So hello everyone, this is Rasul, Faculty of History. So in this session, let us discuss what kind of the papers in Group 1 main services and how we need to approach them. Right? So as far as Group 1 mains is concerned, we have totally 6 papers, and one shall keep in mind we don't have interview in Group 1 mains based. So the maximum concentration be on written part. Right? So those who are preparing for Group 1 main services and those who are already done with mains preparation. So what are the areas to be concentrated as far as history is concerned, and how history components to be read, and what are the areas to be focused in history component? Let us discuss in this session. So as far as history is concerned, which carries for about 250 marks in Group 1 mains services. Indian history plus Telangana history and culture, these two components carries for about 100 marks when it comes to Telangana movement and state formation, which carries the line share in Group 1 services, especially in TSPSC, that is 150 marks. So as far as Telangana movement and state formation is concerned, that will be dealt by Vishnu sir. As far as Indian history and culture, Telangana history and culture is concerned, I'll be going to take care of it. So how one has to write answers in Indian history and Telangana history and culture. As I was telling, Indian history and Telangana history and culture, these two components carry 100 marks based. 100 marks. So for 100 marks, in order to get at least 90 to 95 marks, what are the areas to be concentrated? In the first and foremost, whatever exam you write, including Group 1 mains, in subsequent, you have the other exams, first go through the syllabus, understand the syllabus, digest the syllabus, download the syllabus, go through the syllabus, what are the components from ancient, what are the components from medieval and modern. The same for Telangana history and culture, the ancient components, medieval components and modern components. So while you are reading Telangana history and culture, I advise the people read with the background of Indian history, ancient Indian history plus Telangana history and culture, medieval Indian history plus medieval Telangana history and culture, apply the same towards modern. Because when you get command over Indian history, for about 60% of your regional preparation would be done as part of Indian history. The only 40% you need to concentrate the regional history questions. So how one has to focus as far as Indian history is concerned? We found very general perception among the aspirants. Indian history, we have stock questions so that we can prepare our own selves and we can go and just vomit whatever the information which we have learned. Let me tell you, this is extremely blunder. Whoever carries this particular perception, if someone asks a question, then how we need to approach for ancient Indian history, medieval and modern, including Telangana history and culture, you require a proper guidance. No doubt, everyone has content, but whatever content which you have, the content to be organized in a proper way. Under introduction, ella rayali. Can we use so many subheadings? And how we need to conclude at the end of an answer? Are we going to suggest? Are we going to give some sort of advices or some sort of opinions based questions and all, right? So for example, to make you understand, take one question from history, that is one of the patent questions of Group 1 mains services. When it's a Group 1 main services, if someone asks the question, so this is the first Group 1 in Telangana state. No doubt, this is the first Group 1. When I say Group 1 previous question papers, one has to depend on APPSC. So when you go through previous question papers of APPSC mains, you do get a lot of questions on Indian history. So now the patent questions, so for example, to make you understand, that is factors for the rise of Jainism and Buddhism. Right? Factors for the rise of Jainism and Buddhism. This is traditional based question and important question. So whatever points which you have, whatever content which you have, the content has to be organized. Obviously, we shall start with very brief introduction. Right? In which circumstances Jainism and Buddhism born and brought up in 6th century BC. Followed by, for our convenience, we have the many factors. So for example, we have social factors, have subheading social factors and dump the content. Your content must be very crispy in nature. And you need not write the much facts while you're writing an answer. No doubt you can insert 1 or 2 facts. And while you're writing an answer, the content, ensure statements to be inserted. So for example, while you're writing an answer called Jainism and Buddhism, how Buddhist texts attracted the Vaishyas of 6th century BC, those who are associated with agriculture. We have Pali texts which branded cow as Sukhada, Annada and Vannada. Sukhada, the giver of happiness. Vanneda, the giver of beauty. Annada, the giver of food. So while you're writing the general content, when you insert this kind of quotations, obviously your answer would become matured. Followed by religious conditions, social conditions. Right? And finally, obviously 1 or 2 points, that is with traditional content, modern link. Right? And we have questions on Bhakti and Sufi movements. The questions on, that is what kind of contributions made by Mauryan Ashoka to Buddhism and Ashoka's Dhamma policy. I'm talking about ancient India. Right? So my point is, first one shall go through the syllabus. Once you go through the syllabus, you'll get idea. And second one is, select the books, the reference books. You need not to get dozens and dozens of books. So only few required books, reference books you call them. Read one book 10 times, but that reading must be consolidated. Get any class notes, get any coaching notes, and you just add your own points. Books are so-called material. Syllabus, books. And the third one is, that is answer writing, because we're talking about mains. We're talking about mains. So when I say mains, if someone asks a question, shall we write an answer for each and every question? The answer is yes. At least have 5 to 8 points for each and every question. Right? Very crispy points. You need not remember each and every point. So for example, as I was telling, you're writing an answer that is on Bhakti movement. So the impact of Bhakti movement, one of the patent questions of all competitive exams, especially in mains oriented exams. You call UPSC General Studies mains, you call APPSC mains in the previous. Obviously, we can expect one question from Bhakti movement. What are the components, Bhakti components, right? In which circumstances Bhakti movement born and brought up? Who are the exponents in Bhakti? What the categories we have in Bhakti, that is Saguna sect and Niguna sect. What are the fundamental differences between Saguna sect of Buddhism, Saguna sect of Bhakti movement and Niguna sect of Bhakti movement? What are the respective philosophies of Bhakti proponents? So the point is, have the crispy points for each and every question that can be elaborated in general way. Besides general way, obviously required quotations. Ensure each and every question gets one quotation. When I say quotation, require quotation. Maybe the statement of particular historian, maybe the statement related to the contemporary historians and all that. And besides ancient India, we found medieval India. As far as medieval Indian history is concerned, we have one of the important elements of medieval Indian history, that is market reforms of Alauddin Khilji. One of the patent questions, right? When I say market reforms of Alauddin Khilji, how Alauddin Khilji brought revolutionary reforms in the realm of administration. What factors forced Alauddin Khilji to introduce market reforms? Besides market reforms, the general reforms which he introduced in military administration, revenue administration, and other administrative aspects. And we have one more important event, that is Mughal Empire, and you can't imagine a question paper from art forms of Mughals. When I say medieval India, it's nothing but like a Mughal Empire. Out of all rulers in Mughal Empire, the most important, the most like a secular ruler happened to be Akbar. So Akbar's contributions to culture, Akbar's Rajput policy, how Akbar's Rajput policy differs with that of other Muslim rulers. Akbar's religious policy, what were the elements of Akbar's religious policy? What are the components which are associated with Akbar's religious policy? And over a period of time, the gentleman came up with a new philosophy, otherwise called as Deen-e-Ilahi. We have different aspects of Deen-e-Ilahi, different interpretations of Deen-e-Ilahi. And we have the other areas of medieval Indian history, obviously Marathas. One of the traditional questions which we found in APPSC previous question papers, factors for the rise of Marathas. In fact, there are many similarities between one of the previous questions of ancient Indian history, that is Magadhan Empire and the rise of Marathas. There are many similarities between factors for the rise of Magadhan Empire and factors for the rise of Marathas. Factors for the rise of Magadhan Empire in 6th century BC. When there were 16 kingdoms, out of 16 kingdoms, one kingdom called Magadha emerged as an empire. Obviously, Magadhan kingdom had so many advantages. You call political advantages, you call social advantages, you call economic advantages, you call so ambitious rulers, even cultural advantages. Right? So when you understand factors for the rise of Magadhan Empire with the same background, including geographical advantages, the same background is factors for the rise of Marathas. 6th century BC, here we found 17th century AD. When I say 17th century AD, that is Shivaji and all, Marathas, Shivaji. So besides medieval Indian history, we have modern Indian history. So in modern Indian history, we have the revolts and movements, that is tribal revolts, peasant movements, 1857 revolt, caste movements, and above all, at least one question we do get in mains, that is national movement. As far as national movement is concerned, we have three components, that is say moderate phase of 1885 to 1905, extremist phase of 1905 to 1920, and Gandhian phase of 1920 to 1947. And besides Indian history, we have Telangana history and culture. We have selected areas in Telangana history and culture, say Shatavahanas, Gautami Putra Shantakarni, cultural contributions of Shatavahanas. Besides Shatavahanas, we have Kakatiyas. One of the patent questions generally we do get from Kakatiyas, and followed by Qutub Shahis, and finally Asaf Jahis. So my point is understanding the syllabus, having the so-called reference books, and writing practice. As far as writing practice is concerned, so join us with Vishnu IAS Academy. We'll be going to guide you people. Thank you.